and seeing her distort and so I went through hell and back again. She was my dearest friend, but she'll go to heaven. So maybe I can see her.
What I remember most about the Connecticut farm was the intoxication of those balmy summer nights, moist, subtle winds that would undulate and soothe the day's heat with hints of the nearby Long Island Sound. The breeze carried the ocean in it. Not the smell, but the living signature of that huge presence. Living close but not on the sea was like living around the block from a giant whose breathing you can always hear if you get quiet enough and listen. This and the deafening songs of cicadas muted the tones inside and around the large farmhouse into a gentle background drone. Can you reach into the chest of a child who has barely learned to speak and feel the tides that move her then? The somatic language that living on that particular facet of earth with those particular people evoked. It was a form of sensual bliss, not fitting a tiny babe. Yet it was. It began as a perfect reverie. I was home. This was the only home I ever truly knew. Others were places to be. They mattered, yes, for sure. But this place was birthed somewhere inside me as I was sourced in it. That land and I were kin. Rainstorms turned me electric. I would kick shoes aside, strip to nakedness, and streak out into the wet and pounding night. My heart alight would fly me faster than my little legs could travel. Even my body itself registered beyond top speed. The dark of night supporting the illusion of actual swiftness to an extent that I felt carried, propelled into a supernatural pace. Lightning and its bellowed voice of thunder became me, till I was lit from the bottom up and viscerally set free. I experienced godliness in the land and in my body. The storms, the snows, the star-studded skies, a droning plain across what felt like garden forevers, the lulling late summer afternoons that would melt into pure golden light and dig deep into hypnotic timelessness. The only sign of earthliness at those times, the lengthening shadows of kitchen counter, an empty, sprawling dining table. A table for 10, so noticeably and almost necessarily still in the absence of a meal that it was as though it, the table itself, were in recovery from the cacophony of interaction that was my family. The ebbs and flows of their comings and goings were stark and balancing to my entire system, the chaos giving way to melatonic calm, giving way to chaos again, as the family came and then went hypnotically, the energy of it. Brothers galore, each with their own peculiarities that would tumble one upon the other, so that to step back and observe it was to know the simultaneously serene and somehow also punishing relentlessness of a seasonal waterfall, the violent molding and softening of rock that ensues. This was the way my psyche took form. I couldn't stand being the little kid in the family. My siblings were minimum 9 years older than me and more. And they got to do all the things that I wanted to do. And they did them right in front of me, and I had to go to bed. I had to take naps. I had to not get to do it. And I pined to be their peers. And one day my brother, one of them, turned to me and said, if you work really, really hard at it, you can catch up with us. But you got to work at it. I began immediately. I was so busy with that. I cannot tell you. I would just sit there day after day and work at it. I can definitely say I got into an immense amount of trouble as a result of that, the way I chose to respond to that one comment. I was forever looking for... It was like I began collecting merit badges, proof that I was becoming older. I would sneak one of the cars out and down the driveway at age 11 when the adults in my life weren't not around, not looking for me. And I would end up at my friends' houses, and I would bet them money that I could get there. I would climb up the silo, the grain silo that we had on the farm next to the barn. I'd go sit up there. It was minimum 60 feet, maybe as much as 100 feet up. I'm not sure. Very high. Concrete below. I would climb up, just staring at each rung in front of me so as not to freak myself out, and get to the top, and then I would gingerly place myself where I could sit and gaze out. I'd be looking for my mother out above the trees, seeing if I could somehow detect her from that position of a created horizon. And I'd be looking for that answer to the riddle of how I could become older, keep up with my siblings, feel more a part of the family that I felt somehow behind in. Felt behind them instead of one with them. I was so in love with them, I would write them love letters, poems. I would read to them and I'd read it aloud to them and they would pat my head like I was cute. And meanwhile, I was feeling profound. And it was an offer with no taker. I've lived a lot of my life making offers with no takers. And I would say the learning curve has been realizing I don't need a taker. I'm not a victim to that circumstance, and the more unconditional I make the offer, the more epic I feel, whole and complete I feel. And that when there's a taker, it's a bonus. It's not a necessity. That's the power I have to define what the success is. I started just pining for a taker. And success would be having one. Increasingly, I just realized I really don't need that, actually. And I can still deeply enjoy the offering that I make. And I make it continually. I make it towards the ones that don't get me. I do that energetically. I make it towards those that are violent in the world, that are ill, that are self-destructive, nihilists, Satanists, pedophiles, warlords, soldiers that have lost track of the plot, gone full force into sadism. I offer it even to those characters in our 3D land. And I offer it to you who are listening. I offer you this love that I have, this awareness that we really are one, and that I can actually reach through this magical tech situation and commune with you. And close my eyes to open the inner eye and gaze into you and know you and help you feel seen right now in this here as you listen. That I have that capacity to reach into you right now and help you not feel alone and help you realize that I am no different than you. That you also can take it on, if and when you will, to experience the magic secret. That you don't need anyone else to pick up what you put down. You don't need a taker of your love to be taken up in that upswell. That is your own heart's tidal vortex current. That you don't need me even to be reaching through in this quantum way. I'm just a bridge. I'm just a bridge back home to you with the one that made you. You, the spark, the presence, with the one that made you, holding this human character that you decided to take on and dance divinely with in an ode to exploration. Dare we even call it learning? That would imply there's something to learn. The soul already knows. It already knows the bottom line. That love is everything. It's that alpha and omega. It's the stuff. We know it. We all know it. So simple. So everything that we seek to gain, and at times can be terrified that we won't. I'm reaching into you now, and I'm saying, reconnect, plug back in to the spirit of yourself, the richness of that intimacy within. I have bared witness to people, multiple people, many, who were suffering deeply in states of disconnect inside, resorting to alcoholism, resorting to drug use, resorting to self-harm. I have had the privilege of a front row seat to them daring to turn inward and claim themselves and listen for the pain and help it digest, not just drown, not just endlessly drown in it, helping themselves to digest that pain through so that they didn't have to carry it anymore. And to see how magically all of those old magnetic poles towards alcohol, towards survivalist strategies, how all of that could just mellow out in the face of this reconnecting within, realizing there's a whole rich landscape inside. It is so profound to witness people doing that. And I get to do that, and so I'm saying, if they can, if I can, you can. My godson just had his bike stolen today. And some of his first words were, I'm not going to let this have my peace. This is the kind of power that we have. It's so beautiful. It's so heroic. Deciding to not let the tragic that can show up in life, not letting it erode us, corrode us. We are so powerful and so beautiful. We all are. Can you feel it? Will you feel it? You can. It feels so divine to let ourselves know that we're enough. Hey, everything is in the how we do it. It's going to be key for all of us to get out of format. Those that are in power bank on us staying programmed, staying predictable. What is it to become truly unruly, unpredictable? To listen to a guide so deep and so spontaneous and so meeting of the exact moment minus any overlay of should, that we have married reality completely. We are with this now and all that it contains and all that it asks of us, whether it be to be still, to become in action. It takes not being an algorithm. How much of our lives, the day in and day out, are entirely predictable? Our reactivity. How manipulatable are we? This is the activism that, at least as far as I can tell, is the one that can have any effect on this increasingly tyrannical paradigm that we are now swimming through, where our concerns simply have no bearing anymore. They need to have bearing inside of us. They need to matter. We need to experience ourselves as effective in our own microcosmic realms at letting love shine in and guide us. Hopelessness is not an answer. It feeds directly into the tyranny. Becoming reactive, hateful, poisonous in our insides, poisoned. It's a choice to allow ourselves to be poisoned by what we are witnessing. Many, if not most, would say it is poisonous. We can't help it. It's tragic. It's awful to bear witness. There is a way. There's a way to not let that deteriorate us. That's what it takes to be a paramedic. That's what it takes to be a first responder. You have to know how to not let the psyche wear down, or you become ineffective. And that's true now more than ever for all of us. And there is this wellspring inside that is forever in a blossoming place, in a welling up of goodness, of purity, of safety. There is an oasis within all of us available. It's just that few understand that. And even when they grok it, they often don't go about accessing it to where they can trust it. How in the world are we going to trust something theoretical, especially when things get really tough? Be ungovernable from love, not just from a rebel for a rebel's cause. Be so divinely aligned that you don't require laws to guide you. Love is your one law, and it doesn't have an algorithm involved in it, because it is so deeply in love with life itself. It knows how to respond meticulously to exactly what's going on around us in that moment, such that it can invite and seed start the most profound, most highly resonant and harmonious scenario for all. Let's feed that in ourselves, that listening. Let's play with it. Let's mess it up and start over and keep at it, tenaciously exploring. What does it mean to not be algorithmic? What does it mean to not need a law, except that I am here loving the all, loving myself, loving my neighbor. What is it to put into practice all these lofty ideas that we've had via religions, via new agey, self-helpy, all this stuff? What is it like to be free? To claim our birthright to worthiness, a worthiness that's been ours all along.